Welcome back to another video. This week is going to be a little bit of a switch up in pace, although I feel like every time I hop on YouTube, I'm switching up my pace. So, I want to talk about Brockhampton. I'm wearing my shirt right now. I hope you guys can see this. Got all the members on there. Well, I mean, at least the guys that perform or rap or sing. So you got Joba over here. You got Matt Champion, Bareface, Don McLennan, Merlin Wood, Kevin Abstract. The boys are dropping another project, their 6th studio album titled Roadrunner, New Light, New Machine. Now, again, I never really have a direction with these videos. I wanted to talk about the anticipation of this new Brockhampton album, 6th studio album. It's been a long time since we got new music from Brockhampton back. Well, I mean, I guess you could say in 2020 they had the technical difficulties and some of those tracks that they had released. But if we're talking about strictly an album, we haven't seen new music since Ginger. I am kind of an oddball when it comes to Brockhampton because I did not discover who they were back in 2017. I actually just started listening to Brockhampton last year. I talked about this on the podcast with Liv Allen, but the first 4 tracks of Saturation 1 are what I listened to last year in quarantine, or very close to quarantine, and then I never touched the rest of Saturation 1. I never went to 2, 3, or any other projects afterwards. But then for some reason, when I moved into this apartment that I'm living in now, in August of 2020, all of a sudden I was like, all right, it's time to get into Saturation Trilogy. And I was blown away by Saturation 1. Saturation 2 I thought was kind of the more dull project out of the Saturation Trilogy, but still a good project. And then number 3 is probably my favorite out of the Saturation Trilogy. So yeah, I mean, just going through that experience, I feel like I'm an odd fan in the way that I came across these guys a little bit later. I had always seen music reviews that were done on Brockhampton years prior, but I never went into their discography. I never started listening to their music, and to be honest, I don't really know why that happened, because they were plastered all over the place and you heard all this hype about Brockhampton, but for some reason they just went past my radar and I never listened to them. But that's the beautiful thing about music, is you could come back at any time and become a fan, and I would say Brockhampton is probably in my top 5 artists of all time. I've only been listening to them for like half a year. But their material is so good. I mean, yeah, you can start talking about Saturation and what sort of legacy that started to create for them. I mean, that was really the first time that we got exposed to them. But they kind of just burst into the limelight with those 3 projects. And ever since then, things weren't the same. And then you have the drama of releasing a mirror in that time span and all the trauma that they went through to endure that. And then you have Iridescence, which people say, you know, that's not one of their better albums. I actually really liked Iridescence. I understand that it's not as cohesive as, say, the Saturation Trilogy, and maybe isn't as hard-hitting as the Saturation Trilogy, but it still has a lot of good moments on it. And it's cool because I think that's where Bareface started to really come into his own. And when you lose Amir, you lose more of that braggadocious sort of approach to your music. I think that was one of the things that Amir really brought to the forefront in Brockhampton, or at least that's what he contributed to. And then you go to Ginger, which was really more of a soft side of Brockhampton, a little bit more emotional, and again, a complete switch up in pace. But I respect everything that they've put out. They've added so much value to my life ever since I started listening to them, and I cannot wait for this project Roadrunner, New Light, New Machine, because I feel like it's coming at such a important time, not only for me, but probably for a lot of people. You know, we struggled through 2020 going through this pandemic, and now we're into 2021, 4 months in, and we're still dealing with it. We're still having issues, and on top of all the other stressors in life, it makes things complicated. And so the beautiful thing about music is that music always has a way of uniting people. And I was thinking, you know, what are the projects that are going to be coming out this year, but then also relatively recently, that were albums that brought us all together. And the last time that I thought that happened was probably with Man on the Moon 3 by Kid Cudi. And for me personally, with Brockhampton, this is an album that I need personally for where I'm at in life and the transitions that I'm taking place and all the changes that are going on. And usually when I'm in that state of mind, music hits me on a deeper level. So I'm very excited for this project. It comes out April 9th, which is this Friday. So we're pretty close. I don't know if they are releasing any more singles. They've already released 2 singles. They had Buzz Cut, which featured Danny Brown, which was a banger of all bangers. And again, a very exciting moment, because I think we might start to see a little bit of that saturation-esque Brockhampton that we all fell in love with. And then the second single was Count on Me, which was a little bit slower, but it was still quite quaint and cute, I thought. Also had features with A$AP Rocky and So Gone So Flexy. I'm glad to see features. I see that there are going to be a lot more of a featured heavy album for Brockhampton, which is something that they don't normally do. I guess the only thing that's worried me so far in the first 2 tracks is you really only see Kevin Abstract on Buzz Cut, and then you have Danny Brown, unless you're going to put members' ad-libs in the background when Kevin Abstract is singing. But then at the later half of Buzz Cut, that's when you get a little bit of Joba singing. He has a small few lines in there, and then Merlin's like, "What is God to you niggas?" Something like that. You know, it's very short. So, and then you go to Count on Me, and if I'm not mistaken, I really think the only person that shows up in Count on Me that's from Brockhampton is Matt Champion. So in their first 2 singles, we've only really gotten 2 verses. I mean, not just 2 verses, but we've gotten 2 performances from guys that are actually in Brockhampton. The Joba thing was so short, and Merlin, that was a stint. I mean, you can't really consider that a verse. So that's the only thing I'm worried about, but it is a deluxe edition, so it's going to end up being like, I think, somewhere around like 17 tracks. So there is hope. I got to tell myself to quit worrying, because there's going to be enough time, enough moments on the record for everybody else to shine. I just want that. And if you guys haven't heard already, under the release of this new album, they're also going to be releasing another album somewhere along the lines in 2021. And it was announced by Kevin Abstract that that is going to be their last album. And that makes me really sad, considering I just started getting into Brockhampton at the second half of 2020. And to literally get caught up, like I literally finally got through Ginger somewhere early in March. So I got caught up just in time to be ready for this new project. So again, it's kind of odd. I feel like I came in at a weird time, listened to all their stuff, and here I am ready for the new project. But yeah, no, I'm definitely sad when it comes to the fact that they're gonna, I don't know if they're considering this like a split up, like maybe they'll come back at a certain point in time and make another Brockhampton record. But what I'm assuming is gonna happen, and this has happened with a lot of groups in the past, you know, Golf Wang, you know, they split up and they go their own separate directions and chase their solo careers. And I encourage that, you know, I'm not going to hold any of those members down for wanting to do that. And I think it's a good idea, because sometimes they're going to excel much further than they could in a group like Brockhampton. But I hope that no matter what they do, they always keep the energy and the inspiration and the creativity behind you know, what they started in Brockhampton, because I mean, it really is inspirational to hear this story of how these guys formed on the internet. I mean, not all of them, but a good portion of them got this thing started on the internet, and then they moved out to California and they pursued their dream of making music, and you know, became one of the most respected, hyped boy bands. You know, they claim themselves to be the best boy band since One Direction, and they're much more than a boy band, you know? Like, that's what they had said as well in the beginning, is to, let's try and redefine this term. And I think successfully they did that. And for sure, in the short amount of time that I've been listening to them, they've had a profound impact on my life and the way that I look at things. I just love their music. I love everything that they have to offer. I'm such a big music head, and it's groups like this, musicians like this, artists like this, that kind of break the mold of what has already been conceived. And usually those are the people that I enjoy listening to, that are doing things that are different than other people. And I think Brockhampton is a perfect example of that, because everything they do is unconventional and it's just different. It's just something that you've never heard before. At least I hadn't heard anything like it until I came up to the Saturation trilogy, which was just amazing, was just mind-blowing. And again, I really respect Iridescence and Ginger. I know they're probably not going to sit very well with other Brockhampton fans, but they were good projects, and there's a lot of good songs on both of them that I can vibe to. So it's going to be interesting to see where Brockhampton goes now in 2021, taking all that time off, going through a pandemic. It's like, I want to see where their heads are at, what they're thinking. It seems like from the snippets that I've seen in the trailer for Roadrunner, New Light, New Machine, a lot of these guys I think are in a better place mentally and emotionally, and that's great to hear. So I hope we see that on the project and the lyrics. But regardless, I mean, I think this, for me, maybe not all music fans are going to agree with me, but this is one of those albums that I feel like we need. And we're not struggling as much as we were, but we had a very hard year in 2020, and it's still been kind of weird to start 2021. And a lot of things are changing for a lot of people, including myself, and I'm just ready. I'm ready for new music. I'm ready to listen to good music, and I hope that it will propel me into the future in my future endeavors. So bet your ass I'm going to be listening to it on Friday. I don't have classes that day, so I'm going to try and go through it without any distractions. Maybe I'll do a music review. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about music reviews. I tried to do one on Ginger, which it was okay. I just got so tired by whatever, you know, like the 8th or 9th track, so I don't know if I could sit there and listen to 17 tracks back to 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 back. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Either way, I'm excited. I pre-ordered the album on their website. They're doing like limited edition CD covers for each member. So I got the Matt Champion one. It was the purple one, and because Matt Champion's my favorite, but Joba's like a close second behind him. I love all the members, but like Matt Champion is my dude. That guy is consistent. That guy is underrated. That guy just, he doesn't fail in whatever he does. So he would be one of the ones that I'd be really interested to see what he would do if he went solo. Like, what kind of music could he create on his own? But anyways, we can't think about the end of Brockhampton now. I know that they announced it, but as of now, we just need to enjoy what they're giving us with Roadrunner, New Light, New Beginning, and whatever comes later in the year. I'm hyped for it. It is Brockhampton season, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. I will see you on the next video. If you're new to this channel, I'm bouncing around from subjects. I'm doing videos on anxiety. I'm doing videos on being bald. I'm doing podcasts. I'm talking about Brockhampton. I do music reviews. And so I hope you enjoy it. It's pretty diverse. If there's any comments, questions, or things that you guys want to start talking about, like discussions, or if there's something you want me to go over, please drop it in the comment section. I do read all the comments, although there are very few at this point. It's still nice. It's still nice to see that I'm reaching people and I'm helping people. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, share, tell a friend, pat somebody on the back. Be kind, people. You only got one life to live, and we need to make the most of it. So I will see you on the next one. All right, bye-bye.